know.
Yes, we will.
So
We'll jump in.
up
So
to
first
you.
we're gonna oil up. So what are y'all gonna oil up with? I'm gonna use Stress
Oh,
Away.
Egyptian gold.
Egyptian gold. That's a good one. I'm gonna use
Yes.
Stress Away because I've
Okay.
had kind of like a hell beast week. So I'm just gonna use some Stress Away. Bring that nervous system right on down.
Yeah,
Gonna level set that nervous system right about now. Hi,
that's
Kristen.
always a
It's
good
good to
one.
see
Hi,
you.
honey.
We couldn't see
Hey,
you a minute ago.
Kristen.
Yeah. Hi, Kaio. Zoom was being a weirdo. It wasn't letting me
Oh,
click on the audio.
oh, okay. Well, we can hear you and you can hear us, right? So we're good.
Yeah, it's hi Donna. It's being a weirdo, but oh well.
What's the new one?
And we're recording, so if anybody needs to leave early or jumps on late, and I have a couple people who really wanted to come and I couldn't, so I'm going to send them the recording.
Right, I will get all that processed for us and I will send that out to you at the end of the class. So we're gonna just jump in. You guys, welcome
right.
to you. Thank you so much for coming. So great to see your beautiful faces. And this is gonna be so much fun. Kaio and I have so much fun talking about all this stuff. We're total nerds, of course. We're oil nerds. So we really love doing these things because we just really love sharing the grandeur and the majesty of the plant kingdom. It's just amazing. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do. We have classes every Tuesday afternoon. Kristen and I hold classes consistently. Sometimes we throw in an extra Thursday class here and there, but every Tuesday. So if you want to hook in with us and find out what our schedule of upcoming classes is, absolutely reach out. We're happy to invite you to anything that you're interested in coming to. Today we're going to talk about hormones, and I love the title of this, Hormones Got You Hatin', because man, sometimes I'm like, my hormones, you know, my husband just kind of steps on my last nerve and I'm like, you know, so maybe it was just me. That was like, this popped into my head and I was like, yeah, that feels about right. Hormones got you hating. How Chinese medicine and essential oils support our hormones. Most of us are experienced oilers. I usually just give a quick blurb about what essential oils are for folks who are new to the family or maybe don't know these things. They are natural, potent, incredibly effective extracts that are distilled from parts of plants, stems, leaves, flowers, petals, grasses, rinds, roots, tubers, all kind of stuff, and all comes from plants. They're highly concentrated. They contain hundreds of different chemical compounds per oil that do a lot of things for the body systems. They're used for immune support, dietary uses, hair care, body care, relaxation, spiritual practice, perfume, and even cleaning. Studies show that they may be anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, so on and so forth. I don't need to read verbatim every single thing. You guys will get a copy of these notes when we're done with the class. I'll email them out to everybody. They are highly supportive and balancing to the body systems because they have tiny, tiny molecules. Molecules are so small in essential oils that all we have to do is breathe them in through our nose, and those molecules pass the blood-brain barrier. It's really fascinating. Within about 2 minutes, they are in measurable amounts in our bloodstream. So they hit our limbic system, top of our olfactory bulb, and go into our brain within 20 seconds. In 2 minutes, they're in our bloodstream. Within 20 minutes, they've hit every single cell in our body. One drop of essential oils, of Young Living essential oils, contains 400 million trillion molecules. That's a 4 with 19 zeros after it. That makes my head hurt and my hormones surge when I think about it.
No, it's a lot.
I'm having a hot flash. I'm busting one out right now. but that is so many molecules per drop, one drop. So they are so potent and effective. We don't have to bathe in these things. The beauty of this is they get in, they go where we need them to go right away, and they're awesome. They're incredible. Some oils, primarily citrus oils, are designed to clean off the cell receptor sites of petrochemicals. So their job is to come in. They're very clearing and cleaning for the body system. They clean off those cell receptor sites and they enable the cell to function better. So that's going to be important in a minute when we talk about some of the biochemistry stuff that we're going to discuss. But right now I'm going to turn it over to Kaio, and she's going to give us the point of view, essential oils from the Chinese medicine point of view. Kaio.
Okay, and
Right.
can I ask everybody to mute themselves? We're getting a little bit of feedback and it just makes for better sound. So if you're not muted already, just mute yourselves. And also we will be sending out the recording and as Liz said, the notes to the classes, because there's a lot of information and we're going to go over it, quite quickly. So put your email in the chat, okay? And then that way it makes it easier for us to try to decipher who was here. And so please put your email in the chat. So I think most of you know me, but those of you who don't know me, I'm Kaio, and aloha from Hawaii. I'm in Maui. And I'm an acupuncturist and herbalist, and I also use essential oils in my practice, only Young Living oils. And it's just, I've been a herbalist for over 40 years, and the essential oils really are now my favorite herbal allies. I also prescribe Chinese herbal formulas, and I've been, working with herbs for decades, but the oils they're so powerful and also lend themselves to use by the layperson most easily without doing harm if you just have a good reference guide and use some common sense. So I do want to point out the importance of purity, because can you imagine 400 million trillion molecules in one drop? That's if you're having a really pure therapeutic grade, if you're using a pure therapeutic grade essential oil. And when I started using oils in my practice, I did look at a lot of different brands. And yeah, I won't use anything else than Young Living now. And you can look at their seed to seal practices. It has to do with purity, but also with energetic quality and a lot more. And also the masterfulness of their blends and so on. But in Chinese medicine, we consider essential oils the jing of the plant. So jing means essence. And what that translates into is really, they are the DNA of the plant. And because of that, they resonate with our DNA too. So that just kind of illustrates how deeply those oils can heal us on a physical level, but also on an emotional and spiritual level. Even trauma is passed on in the DNA. So, that is one aspect that I love incorporating the oils in my practice, because they add that other dimension of accessing that energy of the essence of the jing. And oils also, well, all herbs, which essential oils are herbs, right? I mean, it's a herbal substance. We say they enter specific meridians, and that will come into play a little later when we're talking about the specific oils for hormones. But that means that every herbal substance, whether it's a raw herb that we make a tea from, or a tincture, or an essential oil, resonates with different meridians, and that's how we explain the functions. So just in a nutshell, we look at essential oils a little bit from a different point of view, but I will talk more about that later. So back to you, Liz.
Thank you. That was awesome. So what causes endocrine issues? So many factors influence our hormone and overall wellness of our bodies. It's our age, diet, stress, fitness level, hydration, exposure to toxins, family history. But we've discovered that exposure to personal care and household care items, the chemicals that are present in a lot of the products that we purchase at Target or what have you, that is a leading cause of endocrine disruption. You hear stories all the time about women who can't conceive and they want to expand their families, but they can't. And there are all these interesting corollaries, correlations between exposure to toxins and just how our endocrine system functions. Some years back, the National Occupation Safety and Health studied nearly 3,000 ingredients in our products in our homes and found 884 of them were toxic, with 778 of those being toxic to the human body. And these were things like, I think they studied the drywall, they studied actual shampoos, soaps, just stuff that everybody has in their homes, not just toxic cleaners, but just normal stuff, things you don't even think about. 314 of the ingredients caused biological mutation. That meant exposure to the body caused the biology of the body, they caused cell mutation. There were mutations present. 218 caused reproductive problems from the list of nearly 3,000. 146 items on the list, OSHA knows cause cancer directly, but they are allowed to be sold in the United States. These are substances that are banned in every other country, nearly every other country on earth, but they're sold here. In America, we have 100,000 chemicals on the market as we speak today. 100,000 chemicals on the market. And those are ending up in a lot of our products. These were grandfathered in 1976 during the Toxic Substance Control Act. So politicians in boardroom brokering brokered our health and our wellness and our lives and the health and wellness of our children. They grandfathered the use of these products into our products in America, even though they're banned in Sweden and Denmark and Germany and elsewhere. That kind of really got me angry when I started doing the research. I was like, what the heck is going on? It's really, and then I found another study that talked about a substance only has to be labeled as toxic if more than 50% of the animals on which that substance is tested on die. So if 49 bunnies out of 50 perish, they don't have to list it as toxic on the label. You can look it up. This is not anecdotal. This is out there. It is on the interwebs for everyone to take a look at and to see. So in America, if you kill 49 bunnies, but you don't kill 50, you don't have to talk about it. So there are things that are in these ingredients that aren't even on the labels. This is not okay. We have to be the gatekeepers. The good news is we are the gatekeepers. We just send a very strong message to the chemical companies and these so-called, healthcare companies. We get to send the message that this is not okay. Our children's lives matter. Our pets' lives matter. Our lives matter. We don't want this in our stuff anymore. We do that by making better choices. We do that by being educated and by being just angry enough to stop buying that stuff. So that's how we send the message, is we make them stop doing this. And what I love is that Young Living has tons of alternatives so that we can kick toxins out of our lives really, really easily. Kaya, did you want to mention something about this?
Yes, I just wanted to emphasize how important that is, because I've seen it over and over with my patients, and especially with any kind of endocrine disorders or hormonal disorders, and not just women, men and women, and also autoimmune disorders. Once people start cleaning up their homes and also eating organically, but the laundry detergents that they use, the cleaners, the toothpaste, your lotion, your shampoo, your makeup, all that gets absorbed into the bloodstream. And I have seen major issues clear up just by doing that. It takes a few months usually, or at least a few weeks, but often a few months or 6 months to a year for the body to clear all that out. So you have to just make the changes and then stick with it. But it's amazing what will happen with your health. So that's such an important point that Liz is making. And I used to wonder, when I first started using Young Living oils, I didn't even realize that they carry all these other products, such as the Thieves Cleaner and non-toxic sunscreens and makeup and, things like that. And I thought, oh, why are they doing that? But I get it now. It really, for our wellness, it's so super important, and also for the wellness of our planet. They did ban chemical sunscreens here in Hawaii a few months ago. I'm so happy about that because the sea turtles were dying. It affects the reef, you know, because millions of tourists come here every year and they slather on these chemicals and get in the water. So we were seeing a lot of changes in the reefs here. And so now, well, tourists can still bring them, but hopefully, you know, there'll be less going into the water because they're no longer to be allowed to sell these types of products here. So yeah, that's a really important point. Thanks for that, Liz.
Thank you. And I love to hear that they're, you know, they're banning them in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's great. I love hearing that. So we're going to go and talk a little bit about biochemistry. We're going to make this pretty simple, but this is the book that I lifted most of this section out of. I highly recommend it. It's a big book, but this book, you guys, is so easy to read. It literally makes biochemistry easy for the layperson. I've got the title of this in the notes. I just wanted to show it to you guys. I got this on Life Science Publishing, and I think I got it on sale because they're selling most of their stuff now. So if you want to kind of dig a little deeper into, and you know, this is dense. There's a lot to it, but it really, really helped crystallize why these plant helpers are so amazing and so potent. Biochemistry is the study of compounds, chemical constituents, and the chemical processes of living organisms. The human body contains 100 trillion cells, and each cell has 6 gigabytes of memory. I did not know that. I thought that was so cool, so I included it. That's incredible. I'm like, cells have memory? Of course they do. First I was like, I thought it was just all in the brain. But you know, you get an education. And it's so cool because of the 100 trillion cells, 1 drop of essential oil is enough to cover every cell in your body 40,000 times. So that's a little bit easier to understand with that 4 with 19 zeros after it. 1 drop, that's it. I love it. Our cellular activity is coordinated by 2 systems of intercellular communication, our nervous system and our endocrine system. The nervous system operates by electrical impulses, and those impulses travel from one body part to another, carrying simple information. With the endocrine and the glandular system, however, it operates by sending messengers called ligands, and ligands pass complex information from one body part to another. Essential oil molecules, among their many other abilities, behave like ligands, carrying information to cells, communicating with cellular DNA, and bringing about balance, wellness, better functioning, repairs, and so on. So earlier we talked about cleaning off those cell receptor sites, and we talked about how some essential oils are able to do that, to clear those sites. What the molecules in essential oils then are able to do once those sites are cleared is those molecules can come into the cell, and if they match that like site, that cell receptor site, they repair oxidative damage at the DNA level. This is not anecdotal. This is not just MLM speak. This is actual science. We have the science. I've got links to double and triple blind studies that talked about this. It repairs the DNA. So they repair oxidative damage at the DNA level. That is so awesome. The right here, there's a little picture of a cell, and those little dimples, cute little flower-shaped dimples, are the actual cell receptor sites. They're like little gates. They're actually locked. And when a molecule comes along, if it doesn't match that lock, that location, it won't open. If it does, and it's the right key, the ligand, that correct ligand, will open that site in the cell, and those molecules can then enter the cell. It's really fascinating, and I love, again, this book is so awesome. I highly recommend it. So the cell receptor sites open, and when everything's a fit, they bind. So those molecules will bind with the cell receptor site. And this is how hormones and other ligands get into the right places and deliver the right messages for our cell's processes. Receptor sites are so incredibly sensitive, they can detect the most minute differences between molecules. So they know if a molecule is what it needs or not. So it only opens when it needs that molecule, and it actually matches, and it's an actual, it's like a key pair, I guess. You can probably explain it better, Kyle. It's deep endocrine stuff. And I'll let you.
You're doing a great job because I mean it's so complex. It's
So
really
complex.
it's pretty miraculous, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's just amazing how, you know, when our body is fully supported, then it will know what to do. And so we look at the body and from a very different point of view in Chinese medicine. It's just a different language that we speak. And I'm going to keep it very, very simple because that's not the purpose of this class to, you know, educate you about everything in Chinese medicine. But in terms of the endocrine system, and those of you who haven't muted yourself yet, please mute yourself. We were getting some feedback from a couple places. But so, you know, in general, the keystone of acupuncture and Chinese medicine really is all about awakening the body's natural intelligence to heal itself and to restore balance through the systems of energy pathways, really, that we call meridians in the body. And by the way, this is not woo-woo. So Western scientists, for decades, poo-pooing this, oh, meridians don't exist. They've been talking about them for thousands of years, and they weren't even doing dissections then, and you can't see them, and so on. So a few years ago, imaging was developed where they were able to see these meridians, and lo and behold, they are exactly where 3,000 years ago they were painted onto the charts and onto the clay figures by the ancient Chinese physicians. And guess what's flowing through these meridians? We say that qi flows through these meridians, right? Well, modern scientists discovered that photoelectrons travel through these meridians in the body. So these meridians control and balance the endocrine system and all the systems of the body from our point of view, and particularly the liver and kidney meridian in terms of the hormonal system. Other meridians come into play too, but I'll be talking a little more about the liver and kidney meridian a little later. And the other concept that comes into play with hormonal balance is tied to the concept of yin and yang balance. So yin and yang, although they are opposite in nature, they depend on one another to function properly. There has to be a balance. So hormonal balance occurs when yin and yang, when that interchange between yin and yang is smooth, making room for that change and transformation. So in other words, it's super important for the estrogen and the testosterone and all the other hormones in our body to be balanced. And we look at that as the balance in the ratio of the yin and yang. So we can use oils, often also applied to acupuncture points, to balance these meridians and that energy transfer between yin and yang, and to remove the blockage of the flow of qi in the meridians. That is super important to keep that qi flowing properly, because when there's blockage, there's going to be imbalance. So of course, we do that with the acupuncture. That's why we insert needles into specific acupuncture points. What I found in my practice is that the clinical results that I achieve by applying oils to acupuncture points is a little bit different from acupuncture, because the oils have the potential for reaching even more deeply into like the mental, emotional, and even spiritual, energetic aspect of the person to create healing. And I always see the correlation between physical symptoms and emotional trauma, for instance. So the oils can reach into those deeper levels as well and help resolve that, and even the DNA, as Liz also illustrated. Okay, Liz, you can take it.
Okay, thank you for that. So the table here, I just love this table so much. So there are hundreds of essential oils that help every system of the body. A nice handful of them actually help support our hormone function. This table shows some of the more common things that happen with the human experience, and a list to the right here of the single oils, the blends, the nutritionals, and or body care products that support these various issues. The ones that are highlighted in colors, those are the oils that and products and blends we're going to talk about today. What I absolutely love, though, if you'll notice, is Clary Sage, one of my all-time favorite oils. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. Clary, she's the bomb. I love her so much. She is in every single category, including the one to help male hormones. I often say that this oil is the female hormone oil, but it turns out it also helps the men folk as well. This goes with me everywhere. Plus it smells amazing, so I'm constantly snorting the bottle. But I really, really love being able to see like you'll see there are a lot of the oils appear in one or more or almost all of the categories here. You folks can study this later, but we'll jump into talking about the actual oils. Clary Sage, this is amazing. I used to live in Provo, Utah, and I used to ride my motorcycle down to Mona, which is about 45 minutes south of Provo. And I used to ride my motorcycle past the Young Living Farm, and I would flip open my face mask and pull down my balaclava and just smell on a summer day, smell the smells coming off of those fields. Clary Sage was one of the plants that I would ride past, and the blooms, those plants were about 4.5 to 5 feet high, which they're ordinarily not that big. But Young Living is so amazing, and they're such great stewards of the earth, and they hand weed every acre. They're just amazing. Those plants got so big and so laden. They were like tipping over. They were so heavy. It was awesome to see it. And they smell so good with the sun hitting them. Oh my gosh. But this single oil is astounding. It is loaded with phytoestrogens. And phytoestrogens are naturally occurring compounds found in many plants that mimic our body's own estrogen. Phytoestrogens do not add estrogen. So for folks that are estrogen sensitive, keep in mind it's not adding estrogen to the body. It's merely reminding the body of what it knows how to do. So phytoestrogens are really fascinating substances. Talk to your doctor, of course. I would run everything past my doctor just to make sure that person knows what I'm gonna, explore and what I'm gonna do. We highly encourage you to talk to qualified medical personnel when you're making these kinds of decisions. Definitely, but this oil is also said to help with immune function, digestion, skin issues, respiratory function, blood sugar, cholesterol, insomnia, on and on and on. And it's obviously mentioned that it's in the table above in every category. I absolutely love it. It's also one of my other favorite oils is sclerescence, and it's the leading ingredient in sclerescence. And this is a blend. This is Clary Sage is the first oil in this blend. I'm doing an honorable mention on this because this is the blend that I used to, and I ended up having not one hot flash for 9 months. And this is the reason why, right here, big arrow. Sclerescence is the best and it smells good and it's awesome. But yeah, so that goes with me everywhere as well. But yeah, I love Clary Sage. Kaya, did you want to mention something about Clary Sage?
I do. I did have a question for you though. Can
Yes.
you tell us how you use the sclerescence to get rid of your hot flashes?
Yes, so I did I tried a number of things. So what I ended up doing and what ended up like getting me over the hump was, and I know this is going to sound strange, but I would get out of the shower and I literally would load up 4 or 5 drops in my hand and put it right on my armpits and press it into my lymph nodes. So I would just push it into my lymph, bring it across, wherever the lymph nodes are, they're everywhere in our bodies, but I would do thymus. So I was pushing this oil gently into my thymus, into my armpits, and across my breasts. And I also was pouring it into my belly button, which is so awesome, you guys. So the belly button is loaded with nerve endings. It's the first place in the embryo that forms. It is so vital. The gut is like the second brain. It is like literally tied to our overall wellness. The gut is amazing. I put essential oils right into my belly button and it just gets right into my body. I can feel it. It's amazing. So yeah.
Thanks so much. I mean, there's
Sure.
so many different ways to use the oils, and then plus we all have our own ways too. So I was curious how, you know,
Yeah.
how
Oh,
you
and I
do.
eat sclerosants. Yeah, I put this in my
Yes.
water too. So I also
Yeah.
ingest it. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, well, back to clary sage. Sclerescence is a blend.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was talking about clary sage first, which is a single oil, right? So, like I said, we say in Chinese medicine that the oils enter specific meridians, and clary sage actually enters, among others, the liver and kidney meridian. All of the oils have many different functions. So we're just focusing on the functions that affect the hormonal system today for the purposes of this class. And there's many things that we are not allowed to say due to compliance because the FDA doesn't want us using medical terms. But what I can do is tell you the Chinese medicine diagnosis that we would use clary sage for. And then I can tell you what types of symptoms that that type of diagnosis would produce. So you get an idea as to, you know, that what we call the pattern. We call that the TCM pattern that you know, this oil addresses. So the essential function from our point of view is that clary sage nourishes blood and yin. When the yin is deficient, the yin in the body is what keeps the body cool and moist and calm, and you know, it's more predominant at nighttime. Daytime is yang time, right? And that's like heat and fire and activity. So when the yin is deficient, especially in women, and it tends to become more deficient in women as they age because women lose yin every month through menstruation, because blood is a part of the yin, okay? It's that moistness, that liquid that's in our body. So when the yin is deficient, that yang balance becomes, well, not in, it's no longer harmonized, and the yang will become like overactive. The fire will rise up. So that can lead to hot flashes, it can lead to anxiety, all kinds of things. So that would be the main function that clary sage has, is to nourish the blood and the yin. So especially important for women, but not just for women. I mean, for men too, because there's a balance of yin and yang in men as well. More specifically, clary sage nourishes the blood, and we say it also regulates menstruation. So what does that mean, nourishing the blood and regulating menstruation? So that would mean a blood deficiency that would cause, like, because there's not enough blood in your system, in your body, it would mean irregular or even scanty periods, and also irregularity in terms of like cramps and PMS and things like that. And by nourishing the yin, clary sage also calms the shen. Shen is the spirit, because when that fire from the yang that's out of control flares up, it agitates our shen, our spirit. So that would mean like restlessness, insomnia, anxiety that's kind of related to a yin deficiency, which might happen more during the menopausal years in women. That's when women tend to become yin deficient. And again, hot flashes and even night sweats can be a result of that. And the other thing that clary sage is good for is to move blood in the lower jiao and reduce stagnation there, meaning the lower jiao is the lower abdomen. It increases circulation, it moves the blood in the lower abdomen and reduces stagnation. It, like, if there's any type of blockage down there, it relieves that. So if you're having like heavy dragging pain in your lower abdomen, or kind of heavy pelvic pain, or even painful or clotted periods, clots are an indication of what we call stagnation or blockage. So clary sage would be helpful for that. And another good place, I love how you put it on your upper arms and your lymph nodes. Another good place for clary sage for topical application would be inside your thighs, on the, you know, where the soft tissue is there. That's also where the liver and kidney meridian that actually run up the thighs into the uterus. So you could apply clary sage there. there's a lot more to say, but I don't want to go into too much detail. So those are some of the most important things about Claire sage in terms of TCM.
That's awesome. And now I have a new place to put it. So excited. When I get off this call and go take
Well,
care of it.
A little tidbit here, if you combine this, I think Lucy Libido talks about this.
Yes.
And this is a wonderful book, by the way,
Oh,
if you want to
yeah.
learn about oils in the bedroom.
Yes, in the boudoir.
Combining clary sage with cypress
Cypress.
applied to the inner thighs creates juiciness.
Yes, and goldenrod. Goldenrod is another
goldenrod
one,
for men,
which helps the soldier.
That's right. Goldenrod for men to the inner thighs.
Which helps the women.
That's right.
If you're into that sort of thing. So the next blend we're going to talk about is Dragon Time. Oh my gosh, one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, love it, love it, love it. This blend contains fennel, clary sage, marjoram leaf, lavender, yarrow, and jasmine. And real quick question, Kaio, do you know why Young Living doesn't sell yarrow? Like is that like why there isn't an essential oil called yarrow? I've always wondered that. Is that
I don't know why,
tansy?
because
I don't know.
yarrow is easy to grow. I'm not sure
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, we should look into
That's
that.
a good question. Yeah, we should look into that.
I should
And
ask
maybe
them.
that will be a new oil that will eventually come
Maybe
out.
they'll,
And we
yeah.
have hundreds by now, but
I-
there's still
yeah.
many, many more that, yeah.
So I asked for cilantro and they did it. They did it.
Yes.
I sent
So
them.
ask for
letter.
yarrow.
I'm going to
Yeah.
ask for yarrow. I want some
Yeah.
yarrow.
That's right.
I'm so excited. But this blend is awesome, you guys. Primarily helps with women who are still cycling, but I'm telling you that, and so it's like PMS, hormonal edema, mood swings, that kind of stuff, bloating. But even in menopause, I use Dragon Time pretty frequently. I use it a couple times a week. I'll just put that in and put it on my lymph nodes with the rest of them because I just feel like I love the smell. It smells like fennel. It's just a great oil, all around great oil. It's primarily for younger women, but I found that it's been really helpful to me in menopause as well. Yep. So Kaio, you want to talk about Dragon Time?
Yes. Well, Dragon Time is amazing. You know, it's when you're
Yes.
feeling like a dragon, use Dragon Time.
Right?
But it's a blend. So meaning, you know, it's a combination of single oils. And so I'm just going to pick out one of the single oils that's in it and talk about that in terms of TCM, because it's a little difficult to talk about it from the Chinese medicine point of view in terms of the blend. It's kind of like a herbal formula, right? So lavender's in it, and lavender's in your premium starter kit, and you all must know lavender. However, lavender is one of the most adulterated oils in the world because it's also probably the most popular and well-known essential oil. So when you are, you know, again, quality is so important because you can do harm if you're using inferior quality or contaminated oils. And lavender by other brands, I'm not saying Young Living is the only good and clean brand, but there's so many different brands out there, and lavender is often adulterated, or it's not even lavender that's in the bottle. It's most of the time it's actually lavandine, which is a hybrid, and it won't have the same therapeutic function. So of course, Young Living's lavender is the actual deal from seeds from France, from the origin of the lavender plant. And lavender has so many functions, but in terms of hormonal balance, we say that it's one of the best oils for liver qi stagnation, and that's why it's in Dragon Time. Because Dragon Time is really for liver qi stagnation from my point of view. What is liver qi stagnation? It's when the flow of qi in the liver meridian is obstructed. And the liver meridian regulates menstruation. And especially PMS is a sign of liver qi stagnation, but also mood swings, irritability. If you get irritable before your period, then you would want to grab some lavender or Dragon Time, because it's that liver qi stagnation. It also helps with qi constraint or stagnation in the uterus. So for that reason, lavender is good for cramps. And Dragon Time too. I know a lot of women who will apply it to their abdomen when they're having discomfort during that time of the month. And then lavender, which is part of dragon time, also again nourishes yin, clears that deficient heat, which is that yang rising up, and calms the shen. So it's great for anxiety and worry, because that agitation, from the deficient yin can cause that. It's a special function of lavender. This is now not dragon time, but lavender, when you're using lavender by itself, is that it's great when you're feeling like, I'm frustrated, but I don't know what to do. It's for that type of person or that type of situation, okay? So I thought I would just add that. Go ahead, Liz.
I feel like that a lot. So clearly I need to use more lavender.
Yes.
Maybe it's just me. I know I seem like I'm always happy, but I'm not. So the next oil we're going to talk about is a single oil, geranium. Amazing, amazing oil. Oh, she's such a good one. What I love is it's great for women and men. So our geranium is just outstanding. It is a hormone superstar. It helps lots of other issues though. Like, as we mentioned, we'll focus on obviously endocrine, but it's super good for skin. I'll just put that in there, and inflammation. I love this oil because it actually is one of the oils I also will put on my armpit. Sometimes I swap out. I do a number of them. I do clary sage, bergamot, I do sclerescence, and then I do geranium, and I kind of, and dragon time. So I kind of just live between those oils and swap some in and out on a weekly basis. But if you guys happen to have a copy of the pocket reference, make sure you look up geranium. This is something that's available by a sister company called Life Science Publishing. They are on sale right now. They're 30% off. So dash in and get one, because it is absolutely everything in the world about Young Living oils, how to use them. The chemical constituents are listed for all of the plants, and there is a big, long list of what geranium helps with. We want to stay compliant, so we'll just leave it at that. And then Kaio, you can talk about
one of my
Chinese
favorites, geranium. I just love it. It smells so amazing. It's very floral. And by the way, Life Science Publishing, that is a great resource for reference guides and also accessories and bottles and roll-ons and all different types of things, oily, goodies. And for those of you who are on our Young Living team, in our Young Living community, I have a membership with Life Science Publishing, and I'm happy to pass on. That's an additional discount. I forget what they're having a sale right now. Yeah, 30% off of all their books and everything, but you'll even get some more money off. So if you're interested in ordering something from them, just let me know and I can give you the password. So you'll get that additional discount. But back to geranium, it's again, one of those oils, just like lavender, because it is so popular, other companies will adulterate it. Like one thing that happens in the essential oil industry, which is completely unregulated, unfortunately. So some companies will add isolates, like chemical isolates from other plants to enhance the smell. Something that smells similar to geranium will be added to their geranium essential oil, which will then totally change the chemical structure. And actually, sometimes those isolates are also manufactured in the lab. And when that's the case, then it will have a negative effect where, especially when you're putting it on your lymph glands or it gets into the lymph system, you're actually introducing toxins. So again, just be mindful which oils you use. Geranium nourishes the liver blood and regulates menstruation and menopause. So that means it's good for irregular or scanty periods. If you have amenorrhea, meaning that you're skipping periods, or you have really long cycles or fatigue during periods, that's a sign of blood deficiency. You're losing blood and where you already have a blood deficiency. So you'll get really fatigued during periods. But again, also good for menstrual cramps, especially for PMS with weepiness or sadness, because it has this kind of nourishing and comforting quality. And different types of pain in the pelvis. The meridians, again, are the liver and kidney meridian, amongst others, that geranium enters. But geranium has a really strong affinity with the liver meridian. And for that reason, it's also great to help with any kind of cleansing of the liver, whether it's the meridian system or the actual organ. And when I work with people who have, or women especially, who have hormonal problems or problems with menstruation, whether it's pain or PMS or weakness or whatever, there's often a liver detox that's required. It's important to take care of your liver and of your health in between periods to have a better period. So geranium would be an oil that you could also use in between cycles to kind of help clean things up and to then support you during your cycle in advance. Yeah.
That's great. Hey guys, can everyone mute if you're not talking, please? So we're getting some background noise and we're recording this, so we'd love to have everyone mute themselves, please. So the next blend we're going to talk about is Mr. I love this blend, and this is actually was formulated by Gary Young for men, and it's a kind of focuses on male hormone wellness. But interestingly enough, women started to use it as well. It contains fennel and a number of other oils. It's got lavender, myrtle, peppermint, sage, and yarrow. Again, we need to get them to make some yarrow for us. But so it was researched heavily and compiled by Gary Young to support prostate wellness and, of course, male endocrine. But women noticed that it worked great. I use this occasionally, not as often as the Dragon Time and the others, but it's just, I'll put this in my diffuser, every couple months, just to get a kind of a whim, and I'll use it. And I absolutely love it. It's a great oil, really nice. So Kaya, did you want to talk about myrtle?
Yes, I do, because actually I don't have a lot of experience with this blend, Mr. I just got it for free. I think it was last month. Those of you who are ordering from Young Living, if you're not in Essential Rewards, that's the best way to order, because you get points back and you get a lot of free oils, and depending on the size of your orders. So Mr. was one of them, and I just never really had the opportunity. There's so many different oils and blends. And by the way, talking about the Young Living blends, that is another reason why I love the Young Living oils so much, because every brand and company has their own blends that, are proprietary, right? And what I noticed as an herbalist is that blends are like formulas, as I said, like herbal formulas. And when you have an herbal formula that's put together by a master herbalist or a master aromatherapist who understands not only the chemical constituents and the functions of the single oils that they're blending, but also the energetics of it, a much deeper level of it, you get these blends that are just masterful and magical. And that's what I find with the Young Living blends. So, Mr. is one of their blends. I can say something about myrtle that's in Mr. that also has some relation to the endocrine system. And it's just a personal testimonial. This is not necessarily male or female hormones we're talking about, but thyroid hormones. And I had a need to support my thyroid after I did some labs a few years ago. And this is something I looked up in my app. I didn't even really research it much, but I thought, oh, well, it recommends to put a drop of myrtle on your thyroid a couple times a day. And I thought, oh, that won't hurt. And I did that for a few months. And I went back for my labs, and they were normal after, about 5 months. So myrtle is a wonderful single oil to support your thyroid. And that it's also part of Mister, which is a blend to support the endocrine system in a lot of ways.
That's great. I didn't know about myrtle. That's great. I'm going to start adding it to my thyroid blend because I had a goiter and I've been using Endoflex with myrrh and lemongrass in it. And I've actually it was getting so big that it was causing me problems swallowing. And it is now completely gone. So I've been
That's
doing, I did
so
that for 9
awesome.
months. I rolled that on every single day. So now I'm just going to add myrtle to the mix
Yes,
and keep doing it. Right.
wonderful.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's also good, you know, when you're doing things long term with herbs and supplements too, it's good to sometimes change it up a little
Yeah.
bit. Because your body gets used to it. And then also sometimes if we do something for too long, you can also develop sensitivities, you know.
Right.
So every once in a while, you want to either cycle on and off or just change it up a little bit.
Yep. That's a really
Good
good
idea.
point. Yeah. Good point. So Progessence Plus is a serum that we're going to talk about next. It's a serum. It's not just a blend. Kyle has an awesome testimonial about this. I like this a lot. I personally, my body, I got slightly better results from some of the other blends, but this should be in every woman's every woman's apothecary because it's truly amazing. It contains bergamot. It has coconut and glycerin carrier oil, cedarwood bark, clove, copaiba. I love copaiba. Peppermint, sacred frankincense, vitamin E, and then USP grade progesterone from wild yam extract. And then this particular serum is in a lot of spots in the table above. Kaya, you have a testimonial about this because this is the thing that helped you with your hot flashes. Is that right?
Yes. Well, it helped me. I mean, I also take Chinese herbs, but honestly, sometimes I get tired of taking herbs. And that's why I love the oils too, because then it means I don't have to swallow another capsule or drink a tea that, you know, might not taste so great. And but what I saw with Progessence Plus with my patients is that, so there are a lot of wild yam products out there on the market and very good ones as well. And you can even go into Whole Foods and buy a progesterone cream that's made from wild yam. However, this serum differs because it has essential oils in it. And I have found that kind of across the board with the supplements, the Young Living supplements, nutritional supplements as well. They all contain essential oils, and the oils really add another dimension to it, to where it just helps the delivery into the cells and makes it more effective. So when I was using a progesterone cream, I shopped around and I tried this one and that one, and some were working okay, but not that great. And as soon as I started using Progessence Plus, it was like magic. And so it's not something I don't prescribe because it's not in my scope, progesterone cream to my patients. But if somebody's already using a progesterone cream, and especially if they're not getting good results, I always, recommend that they might try this one, and without fail, they end up preferring it. So it's really an excellent product.
Awesome. So the last guy we're going to talk about is Shutran. This one is so awesome. So there's a whole line of men focused products Gary came up with called Shutran, and they are amazing. So there's like a body wash, I think it's like a 3-in-1. So you can do face, hair, body wash, soap, a beard oil. You guys, this smells so heavenly. I can't even stand it. So I bought it for my husband, but I ended up keeping it. He can come find it if he wants it, but this smells so good. Oh my gosh. It contains Idaho blue spruce, cedarwood, coriander, davana, which comes from India, hinoki, lavender, lemon, Northern Lights black spruce, acacia, and ylang ylang. Gary formulated this specifically for men. And so then again, I mentioned the whole line. There's a whole line of things that this is in. Kay isn't here. I don't think, maybe she's on. I'm not sure. I didn't see her, but she loves this one too. She loves this blend. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's delicious. It's amazing. Do you have any experience with this, Kyle? What do you think of this?
No, I don't, but now I'm gonna have to get it.
You
Like
will.
say, it smells so good, but I can say one thing about it. I'm sure it's one of the reasons why it smells so good is because it has my favorite essential oil in it, which is Northern Lights black spruce.
Mhm.
And if you have not experienced that essential oil, well, this is not specifically about hormones, but I do want to put in a plug for it because it is just such an amazing essential oil with such a incredible energetic quality. And it also illustrates again what sets Young Living oils apart from other oils, because this is such a great story. The farm where the Northern Lights black spruce grows is up in northern Canada, in Alaska. And so the trees grow under the Northern Lights, and it's like they're imbued with that energy of the Northern Lights, right? And they harvest, because the peak of the essential oil flow in the tree is actually during that cold time of the year when it's like 65 degrees below zero, when they are harvesting some of the trees to make the oil from it. And Young Living, I mean, the founder of Young Living, Gary Young, fought the board of his company because he wanted to build a distillery up there, because he said we have to also distill. They were shipping it somewhere else because it's so cold up there. And of course he won because he is the founder of Young Living, but he had to fight the board to build the distilleries to be able to distill during that time of the year when the Northern Lights are going off. And I swear, when you're smelling that oil, I mean, you can just feel the energy. It's just so amazing. So I know Shutron must be wonderful. So I'll
Yeah,
have to give it a try.
Shutron, guys have to smell this. If you want to come over to my house, I'll let you smell it. If you don't want to buy one, it's awesome. It's amazing.
Great.
Thank you so much for that. I love that, Kaio, and I love the thought of all of the needles on the trees being imbued with all that electromagnetic energy and all that delicious cold. And I love that. And I love, you did a post about that some time back. It was amazing about how the stuff just bathes all those conifer trees.
Yeah, that was actually something that Gary Young had written.
That's right.
It's a beautiful post.
It's a beautiful post. And so I included some links to science. I do a lot of research. I'm kind of a gearhead like that. I love to do research. I love finding proof for naysayers. I'm kidding. None of us are like that, but I love this first study that I've got listed here. It's a double-blind study of the effects of smelling neroli oil on pre and post-menopausal women. All the women in the study did was smell a bottle of neroli. They didn't put it on their skin. They didn't do anything but uncap the bottle and smell it for 5 minutes twice a day. They had lower systolic, diastolic blood pressure. They had lower levels of cortisol. They reported increased sex drive. And there was something else I can't remember now, but read the study, you guys. These are so amazing. I absolutely love going and kind of just looking at the abstract little, the overview sometimes, because it's really complex stuff. PhDs write these things, but I love finding stuff that just kind of backs up everything that we experience. There's actual proof to the effectiveness of these things and how much they help the body systems. The triple blind controlled study there is on the effects of lavender and bitter orange postmenopausal women. And sorry for the focus on menopause, but it's been such a big part of my reality for the past 2 years that I've been doing all the studies. but I also included an antimicrobial activity of fennel on Candida albicans, and that's a really fascinating study as well that I've included. And I've got a bigger document with probably 30 or 40, maybe 50 studies that I've researched in the course of looking things up for friends and helping people connect the dots. So if you'd like that bigger document, let me know. You can put it in the chat, and I'll send it along with the notes from today's class. But thank you guys so much. We're done with our class. We appreciate you so much for coming. We did this in an hour, Kaya. That's awesome.
Yay, good for us. That's great.
We were like chugging right along.
Yes.
We will stay on for anyone that has questions. We can, if you have to go, that's fine. We won't take it personal. We really thank you all for coming and appreciate you so much. And definitely, definitely reach out. Let us know if you have any questions, and we're happy to hang out and answer any questions.
Thank you all for coming. Anybody have any questions? Were there any in the chat? Let me check.
I don't have any, but thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you,
This is very informational. I love you all.
thank you, Donna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Donna.
guys, everyone. Thank you.
Mwah. Love you so much, honey.
Love you,
Thank
Donna.
Bye, baby girl.
All right. So in that case, we'll send everybody the recording. And what's your next class, Liz? Next Tuesday.
The next Tuesday, we're doing a focus on spirituality with essential oils. We're going to talk about meditation.
Great.
We're going to talk about all the oils that support a spiritual practice. It is going to be so much fun because we're going to spend about 5 minutes meditating together. So we're going to drop some oils and meditate together. And I'm going to do a little guided meditation for y'all. Really
cool.
easy to do. You can incorporate into your day in 5 minutes. Hey, Anthony.
I love it.
I just saw Anthony's little hi.
Yeah, he
Hey,
just
what's
jumped
going
in.
on? I'm sorry I'm late to the party. But I hopped on. I've been doing a lot of ripping and running today.
No worries. We'll send you the recording, but I'm glad you joined us real quick. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for popping in. Thanks, DM. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Barbara. Thanks you
Thank
guys.
you.
I
And
can't see.
On the
Yeah.
27th, there'll be a class that I'm doing with Karima about the digestive system. So those of you who are on the email list, you'll be getting an announcement about that too.
Can't wait for that.
Great.
Yeah.
And so are we good with questions? All right. Awesome. Thank you. Love you all.
Thanks, guys.
Aloha.
Yeah. Hey, well, Buddha Buddha.
Uda Buddha.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.